He was 6 years old when he made a promise, and the universe spent 20 years trying to make him break it. The twin suns of Vexa Prime bled through a haze of crimson dust, turning the outpost's metal walls into mirrors of light. 6-year-old Ethan Cale trudged after his father through the crowded bazaar, his spacesuit 2 sizes too big, the helmet fogged from his breath. Every step squeaked. Every alien stare made him walk faster. He was supposed to stay close, but curiosity tugged harder than caution. A flash of turquoise fur, a robotic lizard darting between vendor stalls, pulled him off course. He lunged, tripped over a crate and crashed into someone small, warm and very alive. The impact knocked them both into the dust. When Ethan looked up, he found himself staring at a girl his age, with skin the color of moonlight seen through water. Faint lines of bioluminescence pulsed along her neck. Her silver-blue eyes narrowed. "Humans really can't walk straight," she said. Ethan scrambled up, brushing dirt from his suit. "Sorry, my boots are too heavy." She tilted her head. "Then perhaps you should grow into them before exploring other species." He grinned despite the sting of embarrassment. "You talk funny. I speak 5 languages. How many do you speak?" Earthish." Her laughter chimed like glass in wind. Something about the sound made Ethan want to keep talking forever. "I'm Ethan," he said, sticking out a gloved hand. "Arya Thalven," she replied, shaking it delicately. "Daughter of the city's first protector." That sounded important, though he didn't really care. He just liked her smile. On impulse, he declared, "When I grow up, I'm gonna marry you." Arya blinked, startled, then smirked. "You can't even keep your helmet clean." "I'll learn," he said. "I'll come back when I'm taller." From a braid at her shoulder, she slid off a tiny crystal ring, faintly glowing. "If you can find me again, return this." Before he could answer, alarms screamed across the outpost. Sirens merged with the roar of engines and the thunder of falling debris. People scattered as the sky split with fire, meteors streaking downward like burning arrows. Arya's father's voice shouted her name. She looked at Ethan once more, eyes wide but fearless. "Keep it safe, little human," she called, then vanished into the smoke. Ethan clutched the ring to his chest while his father dragged him toward the shelters. Above them, Vexa burned. Beneath the chaos, a promise ignited. 15 years later, the twin sons of Vexa Prime had become a half-forgotten dream. But Ethan Cale never let the memory fade. The tiny crystal ring still hung from a chain beneath his uniform, warm against his chest like a pulse that wasn't entirely his own. At the Earth Space Corps Academy, most cadets carried lucky charms. Ethan's, however, glowed faintly when the lights dimmed. The others joked about it. "Your imaginary girlfriend sending love signals again?" One teased. Ethan grinned. "She's not imaginary. Just interstellar." He could take the jokes. Humor made the loneliness easier. Between combat drills and flight simulators, he spent his free hours decoding alien dialects and studying Vexorian history. His instructors called it obsession. He called it preparation. One night in the data lab, a message intercepted from deep space changed everything. A remote probe had rediscovered Vexa Prime, not destroyed as history claimed, but thriving behind a force shield and ruled by an enigmatic High Protector, Arya Thalven. The name hit him like a heartbeat he'd been holding too long. He printed the transmission, studied her image, older, fierce, eyes like stormlight. The same glow, the same spark. His fingers brushed the crystal ring. "And for the first time in years," he whispered aloud, "you're real." Weeks later, orders came down from the Interstellar Alliance Command. Vexa was to reopen diplomatic contact. They needed a cultural specialist, fluent in the ancient language, trained in alien customs. Ethan's application hit their system before the message finished loading. His commanding officer, Captain Mira Darnell, looked over his file with one arched eyebrow. "You've spent half your career studying a world most people think is cursed. Then I'll be the one who uncurses it," Ethan replied. She smirked. "You ever consider the girl you're chasing might not even remember you?" "Then I'll remind her." When the transport ship lifted off Earth, he stood by the viewport, watching the planet shrink into blue silence. His reflection in the glass looked older than he felt, sharper, steadier. still carrying a boy's promise in a man's armor. He didn't know if she'd welcome him or turn him away. He only knew he was finally keeping his word. The descent to Vexa Prime felt longer than the entire journey from Earth. Through the shuttle's viewport, the planet glowed, half desert, half ocean, wrapped in a shimmering energy field that looked alive. Ethan's hands tightened on the armrest. Somewhere beneath that shield was the girl who'd once handed him a glowing ring and disappeared into fire. The diplomatic escort beside him, Envoy Marek, checked his notes with mechanical precision. "Remember, Commander Kale, this is a peace mission. No cowboy moves." Ethan offered a thin smile. "I left my hat at home." The landing bay doors opened to reveal the capital of Sarathis, a city of amber towers and glass bridges suspended over molten rivers. Soldiers in polished armor lined the approach. At their center stood High Protector Arya Thalven. Ethan froze. The years had sculpted her, no longer the mischievous child who laughed at his clumsy boots, but a warrior draped in authority. Yet those eyes, glowing faint violet, hadn't changed at all. When their gazes met, something electric bridged the distance. Then her expression cooled. "Earth sends its soldiers now? Not enough minerals to steal?" He almost smiled. "Still walking straight," he said quietly. "Just better boots this time." Her pupils widened slightly. Recognition flickered. The crystal ring around his neck caught the sun and glowed, her family's crest pulsing like it remembered too. The crowd murmured. Arya blinked once, voice softening. Ethan Kale. The rest of the day blurred into political posturing and tense speeches. Arya maintained her composure, but whenever she passed him, her hand brushed the medallion near his collar, a silent acknowledgement that both soothed and unsettled him. Later that night, during the Alliance banquet, Ethan caught sight of Envoy Marek slipping through a side door, speaking hurriedly into a hidden comm. Curiosity turned to alarm when he caught fragments. Coordinates confirmed. Strike before dawn. He followed. The corridor ended in a dark observation deck overlooking the city. Marek turned, eyes sharp as glass. "You shouldn't have come here, soldier." "Peace doesn't pay," Ethan lunged, grabbing his wrist, but the comm already blinked red, signal sent. Sirens erupted across the city. From the horizon, fire bloomed again, the same color as memory. Arya's voice thundered through the comlink. "Vexa is under attack." And Ethan realized someone had planned this from the start. Explosions rolled across the capital like thunder trapped inside metal lungs. The sky turned crimson as defense turrets flared to life. From the command tower's balcony, Ethan watched ships streak through the clouds, Draken raiders brutal and efficient. Below, civilians scattered through the streets while Vexorian guards scrambled to form lines. In the middle of the chaos stood Arya, calm amid the storm, issuing orders through a wrist comm. Her armor reflected the firelight, making her look carved from flame. Ethan fought his way through falling debris until he reached her. "You need to evacuate," he shouted. Arya didn't even look up. "And leave my people? Not likely. That's suicide." She turned, eyes sharp. "So is trusting humans. Yet here we are." The corner of his mouth lifted. Even at the edge of war, she could still outstubborn him. Together they dashed into the control chamber, holograms flickering around them. A soldier reported that the energy shield had been disabled, sabotaged from within. The traitor's name glared on the display. Envoy Marek. Ethan clenched his fists. "He sold us out." Arya's tone hardened. "Then we take it back." The pair led a strike team through underground tunnels toward the generator core. The air trembled with distant bombardments. Between bursts of static, they traded half-serious jokes to keep their nerves steady. "Remind me why I ever agreed to meet humans again," Arya said. "Because one promised you an adventure," he shot back. "Next time, promise me a nap instead." When they reached the core, Marek was waiting, flanked by Draken mercenaries. His smirk was almost casual. "You two make a charming myth. Shame it ends here." Gunfire erupted. Ethan dove behind a console, returning fire while Arya engaged hand-to-hand, blades flashing like lightning. A plasma bolt grazed Ethan's side. Pain flared hot, but he pushed through it, covering her flank. Arya caught Marek's weapon arm, twisted, and drove him backward into the reactor's light column. "For peace," she whispered. and the pulse swallowed him whole. The surge restored the shield, sealing the sky in a wave of blue energy. Outside, Draken's ship spun out of control and fell burning into the desert. Silence followed, a strange, holy silence broken only by Arya's breath and Ethan's quiet laugh. "You kept Vexor alive," he said. She looked at him, dust and light on her face. "And you kept your word." The war ended as suddenly as it had begun. The ruins of Sarathis glowed under the returning suns, smoke curling toward a calm sky that had forgotten how to burn. In a medical wing made of glass and light, Ethan opened his eyes to silence and the steady hum of healing machines. His chest ached. Every breath felt borrowed. But he was alive. Across the room, Arya stood at the window, armor traded for a simple tunic of silver fabric. Her hair, once braided for battle, fell loose over her shoulders. She turned when she heard him stir. "Back among the living?" she asked softly. "Barely," he rasped. "Guess I missed the part where I'm supposed to die dramatically." Her lips curved. "You've always been terrible at following orders." Ethan smiled faintly, reaching for the crystal ring that now lay on the table beside his bed. It had been reforged, half human metal, half Vexorian crystal fused by the heat of the reactor blast. "Guess it's stronger than both of us," he said. Arya sat beside him, fingers brushing the edge of the ring. "Our engineers say the Alliance wants a formal treaty. They're suggesting a union between our peoples." He arched an eyebrow. "You mean paperwork or marriage?" "Both, apparently." "Well," he murmured, "I did promise." She met his gaze, amusement flickering into something deeper. "You realize that was 20 years ago, human. Promises age well," he said. Like fine starlight, for a long moment neither spoke. The light outside shifted, painting her skin gold. Finally, Arya took the ring and slipped it into his palm. "Then keep it, as a reminder that some words matter." Months later, under the same twin suns, the people of both worlds gathered to witness the signing of the new alliance. The stage was draped in banners, one human, one Vexorian. Arya stood in ceremonial armor, Ethan beside her, wearing his rebuilt uniform. When the crowd quieted, she turned toward him and said, just loud enough for him to hear, "You still walk crooked, Commander." He grinned. "Still plan on marrying me?" She smiled. "I already did. You just took the scenic route." The audience erupted in laughter and applause as the signatures were sealed. Above them 2 suns crossed paths, their light merging into one. Some promises, it seemed, didn't end. They just learned to shine longer.